Hi, I'm Larry Puckett. Well, today we're back working on the modules again, and what we're going to be doing today is adding alignment dowels so that when we join the two modules together, they'll always be in perfect alignment every single time. I'm also going to be installing a couple of carriage bolts to hold the modules together so that I don't have to use my clamps all the time. In addition, I'm going to show you how to install a couple of shelves on the front of the modules so that you have a nice convenient place to set your throttle down, to set your coffee down, any paperwork, things like that. So let's roll the introduction and get started. Hit that little red subscribe button, and when the little bell comes up, click on it and click all. Okay, let's go ahead and I'll move you in here closer to the module so you can see what I've got here as far as installing the alignment dowels, and we'll get started with that. Now, I'm going to be installing these standard little carriage bolts. These are something under 3/8 of an inch because this is a 3/8 inch drill bit that I'm using to make the holes for them. So, you know, judge accordingly, whatever you can find at your local big box store and whatever you have a drill bit to go with it. And it has to be, of course, long enough to go through the two boards, which are 1.5 inches. So I think these are probably a 2-inch long carriage bolt. I've got one washer here and also wing nuts, because the wing nuts are just, I think, easier to use to tighten these up when you have to take them apart and put them together again. But you can use standard hex nuts as well. Okay, now the other thing that I'm going to be installing today, and I used these on the other module previously, and I also use these and the other versions that provide an electrical contact when I did my lift-out bridge on the old Piedmont Southern. And I'll put a link to that so you can go back and see how I put that together. And the idea behind these alignment dowels is, let me get a couple out here to show you. These are a nice aluminum material, and as you can see, there is a male and a female side, and the male fits conveniently into the female, so that when you bring two modules together and they lock together with those alignment dowels, they're always going to be in perfect alignment. So let's take a look at how to install these. This is the DCC Concepts Alignment Dowel Installation Kit, and it comes with two wood bits and also a smaller drill bit for a pilot hole. Since they were produced by a UK company, they come in 13 millimeters and 19 millimeters. So you could use those if you have them. You could find the decimal version of these, or you could just buy a new set of these. And let me point out, these should be available from Iron Planet Hobbies in the US. I believe the Canadian company is Kingston Locomotive Works, so you could check those that carry DCC Concept stuff. And those are the primary sources in North America. There are a few other stores that might be listed on the DCC Concepts website, but I think that Iron Planet Hobbies and Kingston Locomotive Works are the ones that have the greatest stock and greatest availability for you. In the UK, of course, you've got Rails of Sheffield and a whole list of other DCC Concepts suppliers, as well as DCC Concepts themselves. You can just give them a call up in Settle, and they'll be happy to ship you a set of these fairly quickly. Now, the idea is these come in two different sizes. We have the diameter here of the insert, and then we have a small flange here. And the flange is about 19 millimeters, and the insert part is 13 millimeters. So what we're going to want to do is drill a hole with each one of these in the same location so that we'll be able to install the alignment dowels. In order to do that, we're going to take this drill bit here, and we're going to take, and I've got these two modules clamped tightly together in the exact location I want them. They're perfectly flush up front and perfectly flush on the top. So I'm going to drill a hole through the two end boards on these modules, And then we will use these bits in order to create the holes for installing the alignment dowels. And because we're going to be using this one drill bit pilot hole as the location for drilling the holes for these guys, they're going to be perfectly aligned, and you're going to have these things fit together perfectly each and every time that you go to install them. Now, as you can see, I have positions here and here marked for the carriage bolts, and these two positions in the middle here are the locations for the alignment dowels. So the first thing I'm going to do is drill the holes for the carriage bolts, change bits, and then come back and drill the alignment pilot holes. So let's go ahead and get started with that. There we go. So that's that. Now let me get the other drill bit. Now, as you can see, this is a much smaller bit, the one that came with the set for drilling the alignment holes. And because these two boards are clamped tightly together now, when I drill a hole through this one, it's going to be in the same exact position on the other one. And so when we drill these holes and install the alignment dowels, they're going to be perfectly aligned. Okay, so the clamps have been moved to the side so I can get a straight shot on these pilot holes. Now, there's nothing magic about the position. I just set these up 5 inches in here, and the bolt holes are in 2 inches in from the legs. Now, if you want to install the alignment dowels in your modules so that you can interconnect any set of modules together, then you're going to need some very accurate measurements. I would suggest you make up a metal template to be used for guaranteeing exact positioning, because otherwise they're not going to line up for you. Let's go ahead and go back up on top of the layout, and we'll get the alignment holes done. Okay, let's begin. We're going to use the larger of the two bits, and this is the hole here. Now, we only want to go in deep enough so that this flange is going to fit flush with the top of this piece of wood. So you have to be very careful, do this 2 or 3 times in order to not overcut. So let's go in, and we'll check it. That's not going to be deep enough. Nope. And we'll check that. Okay, it's deep enough at the top, but not at the bottom. So I need to cut down here a little bit. There we go. Let's see how that one is. Okay, that's going to be a good flush fit right there. You can see it's flush with the outer piece here of the wood. I've already done this side over here, but I forgot to hit the record button. So we've got both sides done now. Now the next thing you want to do is switch over to the smaller bit. And what we're going to do is drill right through the center here in order to create a hole for this guy to fit in. Now in the instructions, they say to come in from the rear and drill out. Well, when I did this on the other modules a few years ago, people asked me, why do that? Go in through the front and you'll have less push out here, less breakout when you come through. So I tested it on some scrap pieces of wood, and it works just like they said. So let's give that a try here. Okay, let's do a test fit now. I'm going to use the male. And there you go. It's going to be a flush fit here. Perfect. Okay, now we'll come over here and do the other one. And here we go. Okay, let's finish it off here. There we go. And we'll give that a test. And again, perfect flush fit right in there. And I'm going to go ahead and pull the other module over here and do the same thing on the end of that one. And then I'll come back and show you how it fits together. The folks at DCC Concepts recommend is just using a plain old PVA type glue. This is my good old tight bond, so let's give that a shot. I'm just going to hit it with a bead of my tight bond. You don't need a lot. And we'll just push it into place, just like that. And let that sit. And I'm going to put a male there and a female here, and we'll do the same on the other side. Okay, so I've got a a liberal application of the tight bond glue around the flutes. So we'll pop that female into place here. So I've put that into place here, and again, we get a good tight flush fit here on both sides. Okay, I'm going to pull the other module out, repeat the process, and then we'll see how they fit together. Okay, so we've got the alignment dowels installed on opposite sides here of the modules. So let me show you how well this works. All we have to do is pull them up here next to one another and bring them into alignment, and that's it. You can see they just pop right together and the position is perfect. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to install my carriage bolts to hold these suckers together while the glue finally sets up. And with the carriage bolts and the alignment dowels installed, these suckers just roll as one unit now. Now what I want to work on now is adding the shelves to the front of each one of the modules. Now this is obviously an option. You can leave them off if you want, but I think it's great to have something right here in order to lay your throttle down on, to lay your paperwork down on, tools when you're working on the layout, and even a place to set a cup of coffee while you're doing your work here or while you're running trains. Now somebody had asked me, because I had previously included in the list of materials shelf supports, and I had used these previously on the other modules, but on this one I've done it a slightly different way. Now let me show you how I used these. Basically, I would put these under here and attach them to the legs, and then that would serve as a support for the shelves themselves. So pretty straightforward, easy thing to do. However, what I decided to do, I changed my mind because I found these laying around. These were left over from the old layout, and these are about 5 inches by 7 inches long. So it's 5 by 7, and they're just pressed steel. You can probably get them at any of the big box hardware stores. I got these at Lowe's, but I bet you can find them at Home Depot and Menards, any of those type of big box stores in the US, and the similar type of stores in the UK and other countries. So those act as a great way to support the shelf. So all I'm going to do now is slide this into place, and you'll note that I set it up so that it is below the bottom of the fascia. And the reason for that is eventually I will be adding tempered hardboard here to the fascia, and I want to be able to slide that down in here behind the shelf. So we'll have about a 6-inch wide shelf once I add the fascia. But for right now, we'll go ahead and get this set in here, because what I want to do is add a little strip to the front of the shelf itself. And the reason for that is things like a pencil or a pen or anything that might roll could roll right off. However, with a lip like this installed, that's not going to happen. So things are going to sit there, they're not going to fall off. It's just a little safety measure to make it more convenient for you. And these are pretty easy to do. I'll show you. These are a piece of, let me see if it says. No, it doesn't tell you exactly what it is, but it's about a little over 1 inch. So if you go to the wood molding area in your local Lowe's or Menards or Home Depot, or in the UK, the various big box lumber and hardware stores, you can find these. It's square on one side and it's coved over here, rolled over on this side. And I use that for the top. So all I'm going to do is attach it like this using these small brads. That's all they are. And I was going to use my my pneumatic nailer, but unfortunately it decided to crap out on me. In the meantime, I do have my hammer, so we can use manual installation methods. So I'm going to start with my Tight Bond 3 Ultimate Wood Glue and make a little bead of that along the bottom edge of this wood strip. And you don't want a lot because it doesn't take much. These brads are going to be in there as well. And you're going to get it all over the place if you put too much on, because it's going to squeeze out and slop out all over the darn place. Matter of fact, I'm going to get a piece of paper towel in order to clean up the mess after I put it on here. Okay, I'm going to hold it in place for just a minute or two until the glue starts to grip, and then I can do my hammering. So I'll be back in just a second with my front to you that time, and we'll do the hammering. So I've got the strip here on the front attached temporarily. So let me go ahead and knock in a few more brads to hold it in place. And I'm going to bend it into there. There we go. And let's see, we'll go down here and put in one right about here. Oops. Must have hit a knot in here or something, because that's not going anywhere. Okay. Okay. There we go. Let me give you a closer look at this. So you can see right here is where the two shelves join. They're flush up against one another, so we've got a good tight joint there. Well, that wraps up this week's video. We now have the modules joined together. They're aligned perfectly, just like I want, ready to lay track. And every time we put the modules together, once the track is set up on here, they're going to come into alignment as well. But we're going to take extra measures for that. And you can see I've got the shelf completely installed here on the front of the layout. I'm not going to actually screw it in place yet. I'm going to, of course, wait until after I add the piece of hardboard to the front of the fascia. In the next video in this series, I'll be adding foam sub-road bed down and transfer the track plan to it. Because once we get that on, we can start laying the road bed and track and things of that nature. And then down the road, we'll start working on scenery. So come on back, and in the meantime, have a great weekend and a great week, and I'll see you here with another video from the DCC Guide. Bye now.